The following video exposes the religion and dogma of evolution. If you are an atheist, you may be offended to find out that Planet of the Apes has no grounding in physical reality. Anyone suffering existential crisis after viewing this video should seek intelligible answers from God's special revelation, the Bible.
The only reason how you can prove anything is you're going to have an ultimate authority. That ultimate authority is going to have to be omniscient, omnipotent, always truth revealing, and has a sovereign plan by which he creates this world and institutes a plan by which you can know some things that you cannot be wrong about. And those properties only reside in the God of the Bible. If you discount that, then there's no basis for ontology. Then there would be no basis for epistemology. And if there's no basis for epistemology, you have no basis for proving things.
What if you read? Oh, never mind.
Hold on a second. The problem with you, okay? You just want to accept, because all these, what you don't understand is there was a radical shift toward the ends of the late 19th century, where they abandoned a creationist paradigm and adopted an atheist paradigm. An atheist paradigm is the only thing that's out there is material stuff. And over long periods of time, just little small mistakes will bring us where we are today. That is atheism, but they're not going to tell you it's atheism. Okay? Atheism just is simply the position we leave God out of the equation. It's just all of this stuff happening, and poof, we're here billions of years later because we got billions of planets and we just got lucky here. But you see, mathematically, it doesn't work.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't, and I will prove it to you.
Through the RNA world theory.
No, sir. No, you don't. You listen. You don't know what you're talking about. Now, I'm going to ask you a simple question. If a random mutation occurs, what are the odds that it will code correctly for a single amino acid? What are the odds?
Off the top of my head, but for the record, I'm not talking about mutations.
I asked you a question. Answer the question. Answer the question. What is it? So you don't know, do you?
No, off the top of my head, no.
Okay. How many base pairs in the human genome?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
It's roughly 2 to 3 billion. Okay, it's toward the upper end of 3 billion. Now, of those coding sequences, they're linear. They are linear instructions, and they have to be very, very, very long. Okay, how long do you think a coding sequence is for a simple protein? And by the way, there are no simple proteins. I should say a least complex protein. You're talking about 100 to 200 amino acids in a chain or a polymer. Okay, each one of those amino acids have to be coded for within the genome. The coding sequence is called a codon. It's a triplet of 3 nucleotides. That triplet of 3 nucleotides, when it mutates, is a 1 in 20 chance that it will be code for the correct amino acid in a long chain of coding for a protein. Those amino acid chains function like biological passwords, right? And if you get any more than a few wrong, it will not function properly. Okay? It will be catastrophic. Now, the first coding sequence for an amino acid is 1 in 20. The second coding sequence is 1 in 400. 1 in 20 times 1 in 20 is 1 in 400. The third coding sequence for a third amino acid is 1 in 8,000. Then when you go to the sixth amino acid, okay, a sixth of them combined, you're in the range of about 165,000, give or take 5,000 or few, okay? Now, that's just for 6. Most proteins in your body that have to be coded for are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of amino acids long, and they have to fold in a certain way, otherwise they won't function correctly. So the idea that random mutations, even if you allow a trillion Earths, you got that? A trillion Earths. That's 1 followed by 24 zeros. Okay? You have a trillion Earths in 13.7 billion years. Okay? You think that that's enough to overcome the improbability. Well, it isn't, because the odds of just a simple protein having 100 amino acids is going to be 1 in 10 followed by 100 zeros. Okay? So what if we reduce the fraction? Okay? We got 1 in 10 followed by 24 zeros if you have a trillion Earth-like planets in 13.7 billion years old. If we reduce the fraction down, it's still going to be 1 chance in 76 zeros. Do you have any idea how large of a number 76 zeros is? That's just for one protein. That's for one protein. But you see, at this point, if you're committed to materialism, if you're committed to atheism, if you're committed to evolution, what you're going to do is you will acknowledge the near astronomical impossibility, but then you're going to shrug your shoulders and say, you know what? Astronomically rare things happen. The people who believe in evolution are as brainwashed as the Muslims are. They are as brainwashed as the Jehovah's Witnesses are. And everybody who is brainwashed by cult thinks, oh, well, you know what? I can't possibly be wrong. Well, look at all the scientists who believe in evolution. They can't be wrong. Yeah, well, these little schmucks haven't even taken a course in the history and philosophy of science of all the corpses of previously views that were held widespread that were later debunked. Okay? Every generation thinks that they're on the pinnacle of scientific discovery. See, they can't imagine, listen, this is how they reason. How can this guy on Discord be so right that evolution is a hoax, that it is such a garbage junk science, and all of these scientists with PhDs all over the world, how could they all be wrong? Answer is, it's easy, because if you start with one or more wrong assumptions, you will rationally conclude to the wrong answer. Really, really simple. Let me prove it to you guys. You ready? You're sitting on a hilltop, right? And you just make one assumption. I am at rest. And you look around and you have no reason whatsoever to believe that you are not at rest. And since you assume that you're at rest, you look up into the sky. And oh, by the way, I didn't tell you when this was. This is 3,000 years ago. You're sitting on a hilltop and you look up and you see that bright yellow ball going up and down every single day. And you go, wait a minute. You look at the moon, you look at the sun, you go, wait a minute. Based upon the data, that yellow ball is going around the Earth, and the moon, that white ball is going around. Now, guess what? You would have been right about the moon, but you would have been wrong about the sun. How did you make that mistake? It's because you started from one very simple, fatal assumption. I am at rest on top of my hilltop. Right? Now,
right.
David Tong, he's a British physicist. He's not a Christian. He may well be an atheist. He delivered a brilliant lecture on the state-of-the-art of quantum mechanics. He delivered it where Michael Faraday delivered lectures in Great Britain about the nature of electromagnetic fields. David Tong said this after he delivered a brilliant lecture on quantum mechanics. He says, this is the current state of art of our understanding of quantum mechanics. But we could be entirely wrong about this if we're looking at it from slightly the wrong perspective. Okay?
Oh, yes.
And yet we have people who think that evolution is so weird. You know what? I used to believe in evolution too. And then when I began reading the counter-scientific arguments that are not allowed in academia, evolution is dogma in college and universities. Evolution is dogma in the government schools almost all over the world. You cannot challenge the theory of evolution. You can have minor disputes over little theoretical constructs, but you cannot challenge that all of the diverse and complex and beautiful species arose simply through natural and mechanistic occurrences. If you challenge that, you are a heretic.